Howdy folks, it's Jake from Walkie Farm tuning in. Gonna do things a little bit differently today. I'm gonna hop in the buggy, give you a little bit of a tour around the farm because there's a couple things that I want to show you. A couple different ways that grasses are growing in different paddocks around the farm. And then I want to ask you to give me feedback on what I do next. I've got 3 days to make a decision with my grazing plan, and whatever the majority of you say, I will do. And I'll document what happens. So bear with me. Got a stick down here as we go for a little bit of a drive around the farm. There's one of the last puppies to get picked up. It's going tomorrow. Rightio. So here we are down at the front of the farm. I should have done a test run first to see how well this comes out on video. But I wanted to show you this. The cows were here about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, look, it doesn't come out as good on the screen as I was hoping, but you've got to bear with me. Can you see in that frame right at the tip of my finger how you've got that strip of green grass going right up the guts of it there? Obviously when we had the contractors here using the yeoman's plough around the farm, this farm wasn't done on key line perfectly, but it ended up not mattering because we haven't had a deluge of rain to sort of cause any erosion or anything. But from where I'm standing here, I can see that all the lines where the plough's been in the ground and cut up and down the hill, there's a lot more greenery there. There's a lot more growth. Everything else is sort of drying off, and we're at the end of spring. We've had a very dry spring behind a very dry 2 years, and the growing season's packing up, and we really don't have that much volume on the ground. I do not think, even since I destocked about 20 cows off this farm last year, I do not think I'm going to get to autumn with the amount of feed that I have without either supplementary feeding or moving animals off the farm. And even if I was to take that gamble, there's no guarantee I'm going to be growing any grass in autumn either. There might not be much moisture, or it might be too cold. And so firstly, I just wanted to point that out. It's a little bit related and a little bit unrelated to the next thing I'm about to show you, but I've been driving up and down my driveway every time I come home, looking at that. It's very distinct to me, thinking, how cool is this? Just those areas where we just threw a tine in the ground and cut a little slit. We're only down 100 mil, 75 to 100 mil around the farm. It has created enough of an environment for moisture to get into the soil there and extend the growing season substantially. It is substantially more productive where we did that ripping. Now we're actually going to go and see the cattle, and I've got two things that I'd like to show you at the cattle, and I'm going to give it to you to make the decision where I'm going to move them to. I've got 3 days to move them when their grazing's up where they are, and I've got a little bit of an interesting situation on how I tackle the remaining pasture base. park on the top of this pond here. Once I finish the video, I'm going to actually move these cows for the day. Yeah, Betsy, you're a grumpy thing. Don't they look fabulous? Just bumped into some of the neighbours in town, and they're like, Jake, what have you done ever since you've moved to Amargaba? It's been dry. I apologise. What else can I do? I'm just taking my socks off. I'm in my four-wheel drive farm boots here, and the socks filling up with seed from all this rat tail fescue. Rightio. So if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I was grazing up that hill into that little valley. The cows got out because a branch fell over the fence and they all got out. So I fixed that up and I got them back in there. But usually I graze this paddock in north-south slithers and I bring them back, and then I've got to set up a laneway to water. I could just get an extended hose. I just haven't bothered with it. It's one of those future problems because, you know, a rotation takes me at quickest about 2 months. So when I've dealt with that headache, I go, I should fix that. Future Jake. It's 2 months plus away. Who cares? Well, I'm doing a heap of Future Jake jobs at the moment. So Future Jake better appreciate the amount of hustle that I'm putting in for him right now, especially with baby number 4 on the way. But when I got the cattle back into that paddock after I fixed that, they were not playing ball. They were hanging out by the water. So I ended up fencing like this, west to east. And I'm stripping them up the hill and dropping the back fence. And we are developing a few areas with less than ideal ground cover, but by and large, they're grazing it pretty well. And you can even see that here. Can you see that difference in pasture? And if you dial your eye in right to the center of the screen, you'll see my picket. You can see they've stripped all the seed heads up to there and all the sort of green pick. And I left a fair bit of standing ground cover behind, done a fair bit of trampling in there. It was quite a nice paddock when we came into it. So on our rotation, this would be the next paddock. This paddock did not get grazed at all on the last rotation. I skipped it. So this actually hasn't had cattle in it, except for a couple hours when they broke out when that tree came down. This hasn't had cattle in it this growing season at all. And it's quite a nice stand of decent cereals, really. Like we've got a little bit of brome, ryegrass, barley. There's a bit of sub clover, which this little patch where I am down here doesn't look like there's much. There's a little rye sticking up. Not much clover down here, but this paddock's basically packed up. And the main reason it's packed up is it's north facing. So it has more sunshine on it earlier. So our north facing slopes, they start growing earlier after winter because they warm up and get more sunshine than our south facing slopes. But if we have a look around here, that paddock behind the house, which the cows were probably in 5 weeks ago, it's green and it's bounced back really quite nicely. There's quite a bit of feed in there. And obviously being south facing, its growing season being green is extended a little bit longer, but it starts growing a bit later. So what I'm trying to put to you to help me out is, do I stick to the plan and enter my stockpile here, which has been resting for months and months, and there's an abundance of feed in there, but when we graze that, nothing's going to happen. The feed's gone and we're just on with our rotation. Now, we're not going to completely nuke it. We will be able to take a second bite out of it later. There's a fair bit of information out there that you don't, if you are grazing stockpile in a season and you're not grazing, worrying about recovery, it still doesn't make sense to graze the pasture all the way down, because the microbes in the rumen to efficiently digest the top of the plant are different to digesting the bottom of the plant. If you think of the top, you've got seed head and leaves, and down the bottom you've got a lot more stem. And there's some data out there showing that if you do a movement around your farm and take the top half of the plant off and then start a second rotation doing the bottom half of the plant, you're letting the cows have time for their rumors to adjust, and you'll get more efficiency, you'll get more gains out of grazing it like that, because we're in a non-growing season. So we're not grazing worrying about plant recovery because it's too hot and dry. So do we take the first bite off that stockpile, Or do we go into this paddock that's had less recovery but is still growing, take a bite off it? There's a bit of rain next week. That'd give the cattle a bit over a week. We'd be in there for about 9 days with our daily moves. Do we let them have a graze in there just by the time they're getting out, it's going to start raining? And maybe, just maybe, we'll get regrowth out of that paddock and we'll be ahead of ourselves with a little bit of extra feed. So that's my question for today. I thought I'd put that to you all. I've been thinking a little bit lately about interactive online farming, and this came to me out of a bit of a personal rant. I don't mind. I love comments. I love people getting involved. I really enjoy people sharing information and experience. I don't even mind the haters, the people that come after me. Lots of people got upset about that calf dying and I should have done this and I should have done that. You know what drives me up the wall? It's when I read a comment and it starts off, you should, or why don't you? It's like, well, why don't you? I'm the one out here doing it, why don't you? But thinking about that and having a bit of a little spat to myself, getting upset about all these backseat drivers, I thought, why don't I flip it on the head? If everybody wants me to should have, why don't you? Here's your opportunity. Tell me what you want me to do. Do we take a bite out of the stockpile? Or do we graze the green paddock and hope for some recovery and maybe get a bit more feed up our sleeve? Hello everyone. Aren't you two gorgeous? You're a lovely pair. Everyone's looking good. Rightio, I'm going to go set up. I'm going to probably do one more fence across the top here. Wind this one up. And then after that, they've just got one or two more days. So what is it? Today is Thursday evening. I'm uploading this. I'm going to jump into the comments probably Saturday morning and have a look at what the consensus is about what I should graze. And that's what I'll do. And I'll take you along for the ride and we'll have a look at what happens. Thanks for watching.